and welcome to Hello Neighbor 40. So, for those of you who are new to me and who are new to this community, basically, Hello Neighbor is an initiative that I started not too long ago based on the work of Fred Rogers. And whilst I do not claim to be Fred Rogers, because that man has set such a standard for what an honorable, ethical, and respectable mode of human conduct is, I do my best, as we all should. Effectively, the Hello Neighbor series is a series and a space to kind of let people just hang out, chill out. It's not really a space that's for the very, very hard or very, very dense aspects, though density and hardness tend to come up because we are all going through shit right now. It's not really a space where I want to make that the focus. Sometimes it's like a little bit of a valve. Think about it that way. A little bit of a valve where people can just talk about stuff. Sometimes we talk about superheroes and heroines. Sometimes we talk about movies. Sometimes we do talk about the astrology and the heaviness of things. But sometimes we just talk about other stuff. Sometimes we talk about my garden or my cats or whatever. Or I talk about stuff that's happening with me and people share. So that's more of what the Hello Neighbor series is about. When I talk astrology, you will know. But this is just to chill out. And I like giving people a little bit of opportunity to join the call because when I do this, I have no warning. Spirit basically just taps me on the shoulder and goes, Oi, you, now, go, do. I'm like, okay. So, we're just giving a little bit of time for people to join the call, and we'll see what comes up. Let's say hello to who's here. That's a key feature of Hello Neighbor. We say hello. We've got Cicely. Hello, Cicely. Hello, Shin. Hello, Doa. Hello, Trene, who's heading out for their hike. Have a good hike. Watch out for your ankles. Anne Matthias says, you'll be looking glowy and gorgeous. Thank you very much. I have no idea how. In fact, this morning, I took about half an hour for me to even get up and move because those injuries from the bizarre fall I had the other day have kind of gotten worse. And my brother's like, you need to go to a doctor. And I'm like, oh my God. But I do not like dealing with the medical system simply because the moment I go to a doctor, the first thing is, you're overweight. That's what caused it. And I'll be like, dude, in this country and in India, that is literally the first thing they look at, and their brain just shuts down. So unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to take myself to go get checked out. Uh, but it's just what I do. So I was telling my brother, I'm like, okay, I'm in like a significant amount of pain here. Why do I look so glowy? What is happening? And we're just like, meh, we don't know. But my approach to pain is a very Batman slash Capricornian thing of, if you can work through it, give yourself the healing, but do something productive. Try and help others while you're recovering, but only if it's sustainable. If you really just need to sleep, then sleep. So that would be my approach to things. Shin says very rightly, everyone seems to be getting sick or getting injuries lately, lol. Yeah, that's very much Stereostrine in the Galactic Center. In fact, in the previous thread we did on this, someone was saying how they had almost exactly the same thing happen to them. So, it's a heavy time. It's a heavy time. You just gotta do what you can. James Bush says, hello, Doc. Hello, James. So, how is everybody? I know what's going on with me, what's going on with you, what's happening. Like I said, Hello Neighbor is a place to chill. We just talk about stuff. Sometimes it's light, sometimes it's heavy. So, what's going on with the group? Let's see. Everybody's quiet. Well, I'll just give a minute, otherwise I'll just keep talking. Well, I am giving room to listen, so it's a bit hard doing this over the virtual format. Loza says, hello there. Hello, hello. Good to see you. Yeah, let's see what else we got. Well, I'll just keep talking, and if something comes up, let me know. Oh, okay. Loza says, I just booked a session with you yesterday. Looking forward to it. That is great. Happy to hear it. I think there's about 3 of the bullseye sessions remaining. Oh, Anne says, I've set boundaries, did the right thing, and it doesn't feel right. Bummer. Shouldn't good actions feel good too? There's a difference between doesn't feel right versus doesn't feel nice. So, are you saying that your actions don't feel right or that they don't feel nice? They are two different things. Right rarely feels nice. See, that's something else that should go on a mug or a t shirt. There we go. I mean, it's about incentivization, and I would say a lot of the structures on this planet that continue to plague the planet are very careful at incentivization. Sometimes the wrong action or action that is misaligned actually feels really nice and it feels really comfortable. But that's one of the reasons why there are, getting to a space of awakening, getting to a space of truth is a challenge because it makes us step out of that bubble. It makes us step out of that comfort zone. So, if truth doesn't always have to be painful, but when you're making a really big decision based on a pattern that was there from a long time ago, yes, it can be. But you're brave for doing that. Try, even if it doesn't feel nice right now, try and celebrate the fact that you did what you needed to do. So, and that's the way you create a different system, you create a different experience, you create a different reward for whatever risk you have taken. Oh, here we go. uh oh, okay, this is interesting. I've been thinking lately how Black Americans or Black brown people everywhere seem to be more Piscean in collective, and white Europeans lean more in Aquarian energy. I see where you're coming from with that. I was thinking about this today as well, in a different vein, but close enough. And I don't think the client would mind me talking about this because it's absolutely no ill reflection on her. But I had a very interesting client this morning. I actually got really sick right at the time I was supposed to connect for the session. I woke up without an alarm precisely when I was supposed to connect. And my physical injuries just got way worse. And the moment I was about to like connect with her in the room, I suddenly got very ill. And I went, what the hell is going on? Okay. There's something more going on here. So I look at the client. She's fine, she's lovely, but she's got this huge yandara in the back of her. And when I work with my clients, I say be very specific and tell me exactly what you're working with because I will feel it. Whether or not they tell me, I will feel it. And she, let's just say, she was a person of Caucasian descent from North America, and she was doing her best to do some prayers and practices. So in her mind, this is all okay, this is all fine. But what I found out was the moment I looked at what she had on her wall, I realized, oh, no, 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 this is not what she thinks it is. And I just picked up the energy even before the call. And when I explained it to her, she's like, oh, okay. But it was a very big difference between someone who's feeling the energy directly versus someone who is kind of mediating it through the mind. And that is a generalization that applies. I think it is because a lot of the indigenous cultures, in fact, all indigenous cultures, they didn't really go and access spirituality as a concept. They had a direct experience, and what gets carried in the codes. But, and of course, in European shamanic traditions and European paganism, this is also very true, but that got killed to a large degree. So, even when you're looking at the history of, people from Northwestern Europe and North America, they got disassociated from those experiential roots. So their understanding of spirituality was one gone. It got replaced by religion, which is not the same thing. And so when they tried exploring it from another culture or another religion or another area, it became filtered through the mind. So, rather than seeing what is there, it is what the mind is seeing. So, in that sense, yes, I absolutely agree with you. There's a big difference, but that's less to do with race and more to do with culture. Does a culture still have that experiential direct connection with spirit, or has it become mediated? And the thing is, when you begin looking at spirituality as a concept through the mind, a lot of things can befuddle the mind. You may think you're doing one thing, the energy that's hitting you is something else, but you think you're right about what you're doing. So you're only really perceiving what you're allowing yourself to perceive, but the energy is still working. But once I saw what was the issue, I did some prayers, shifted the energy of the room, and then we actually got down into our session, which was very wonderful. But, anyway, but yes, I completely agree with you, Trine. Shin says better than feeling bad about not setting boundaries. Correct. Doesn't help either party grow or have better relationships. Correct. Dora says, hello, Dr. Bhairavi and everyone on the group. Good grief. I'm just looking at everyone's comments on illness and injury. I'm in the same boat, seldom sick, but I've been nursing a bad cold or flu. I'm sorry to hear it. I hope you get better soon. Ginger tends to help. V. Stormfelt, which says, what is sleep? Oh, God, Sabino. I don't know. My brother's laughing in the background. Sometimes when I'm dreaming, it's almost like I'm exactly awake. So at this point, I don't really know. I think from a neurophysical perspective or neurobiological perspective, yes, you can say what is sleep. From a spiritualist perspective, I'm really having to sit with that one and question it because there's a lot that goes on when you sleep. It's like you become more aware of what the Aboriginal people of Australia call the dreaming or the dream time. And that's the thing, dreaming is not something that you do just when you sleep, it's also when you wake. But I think when you sleep, you go back closer to those realms of possibility. Some are positive possibilities and some are not so positive. So it's more of a opening of a different level of awareness and manifestation, but it can go both ways. Okay. V-Storm felt, which says, lol, I mean, it's like 3:37 a.m. How am I supposed to know what you mean? Just for the record, let's see, it's 6:37 p.m. here. So I have no excuses to make. You should tell me why you're up. Let's see. Jolene Gay says, hi, Dr. B. Happy you are here. Hello, neighbors. Aw. Well, hello again to everybody. I mean, I try to do this at different times of day because all of you on so many different continents, right? Overwhelming number of you are from North America and Europe, has to be said, but there's also lots of you in other places, Australia, India, some of you in Singapore and Malaysia, some of you in Africa, which is, of course, the primordial motherland for everybody on this planet. Um, you know, so there's quite a few of you, and I just wanted to make it a little bit more inclusive by trying to do this at a different time of day as well. Let's see. What else do we have going on? What else do we have going on? What are we addressing today? Okay. Anne says, I'm very happy I caught you live for the very first time ever waving from India. A wave back to you from where I currently am, which is in Malaysia. Like, if no one has anything else to say, I wanted to share something that I was just watching just now. And I'm a huge fan of the old action hero movies. So, I like people like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone. Not a huge fan of their politics, but I still know what, gives me nostalgia, childhood nostalgia. So I was very curious to see Arnold Schwarzenegger starting a climate institute. And he was addressing this forum, Austrian World Forum. And he was talking about the need to inspire people. And like I said, I acknowledge his politics are not exactly something that I would say I'm 100% behind, but you don't have to be 100% behind to appreciate someone who's trying to do something good in the world, as long as they're not actively oppressing anyone else. So he was talking about how, and stuff like climate change. Oh, hang on. Shin says sleep is a time where your subconscious visits and has a chat with conscious. I don't know about that. Your subconscious is always there. Maybe you're just more aware of it. But getting back to Arnold, but no, it's a cute definition. No, it's nice. Getting back to Arnold, it's a kind of, he was basically talking about how when it came to climate change, and this is the thing, he really, really worked his background. The kinds of analogies he was making were from lessons he learned as a bodybuilder, or lessons he learned as an action hero, or lessons that he taught in a movie through Terminator, Predator. And I'm thinking to myself, you really took with it and ran with this. But the interesting thing was his message was very clear, and it was very good. Basically, he's like, look, even in a movie, you need to give someone hope. If you keep telling someone how shit everything is, and you don't give them anything to focus on and do, you're just going to oversaturate everybody. And I was thinking about that, going, yeah, that's pretty much what's happened. People aren't acting on issues like climate change because all we're getting is doomsday predictions. So when someone has already told you you're not going to win, everything is awful, everything is terrible, you're going to get the response that you're getting right now. A few people who are willing to go and do what is needed, and the rest are basically just going to be in some state of apathy and hoping that the world blows up by itself. So I was saying to myself, yeah, this dude actually has a really good point. And it was hilarious to me. I was laughing my ass off when the example he gave for this the example. And I'm not going to try and do an Arnie accent, no. But he was saying, like, when he was filming Predator, he was talking about the scene where he sees the green phosphorus blood of the alien, and he goes, "If it bleeds, we can kill it." And he says, "That was the moment where we had hope in the movie." I'm just laughing. But it's true. We need something to focus on. We need some. Oh, hang on. I will have a look at that. Oh, hang on. My brother wants to say something.
Arnold Schwarzenegger wants to see capitalism bleed.
I don't know if you heard that, but that's what my brother says. He says in his voice, Arnold Schwarzenegger wants to see capitalism bleed. I like it. Um, but yeah, and it's true for about anything. I mean, we're all facing so many battles, but if we don't have hope, we give up, or we just start to acclimatize ourselves to, and in what we think is an inevitable ending or inevitable failure. And yeah, so for him and what he's doing, he's basically saying you need to focus on one thing. When I was a bodybuilder, I focused on triceps one day, I focused on biceps another day. I couldn't do this and this together on the same day. It was not possible. So we just focus on one thing, and it makes sense. So I guess that is actually one of the reasons why I was like, okay, hello neighbor, it's a good message. Focus on one thing, do what you can. And I always talk about hope, I always talk about faith. When we say have hope, a lot of the times people mean, believe that what you want to happen is going to happen, and that is what leads to pain. And we've talked about this in a previous installation of what it is to actually have faith. But it's a very similar thing, hope and faith, but they're not exactly the same thing. Believe that we can find a way in alignment that with the benevolent beings who are watching over this planet, because because it hasn't quite blown up yet. We are still here. Things are happening. So it's about finding that space where you allow something good to emerge. And that can be applied to anything in your life. That is a very powerful lesson. We need to have that allowance and that space to feel that even in that one thing you're focusing on, you can have a successful or positive outcome. Maybe you don't need to focus on a very specific vision of that outcome because the world is very complex. But take one thing in your life, focus on it, and believe that you can actually make a difference in that one thing. And we exist in a universe that is quantum. One thing has an effect on something else. One aspect of your life has an effect on other things. So if you feel overwhelmed, and I know a lot of us are, do one thing. One thing, it doesn't have to be a big cause, it doesn't have to be something grandiose, it doesn't have to be something that people are going to applaud you for. It doesn't even have to be something that anyone knows that you do. Do one thing and do it to a point that you would consider it as a success. And that's something that can actually bring us all in these times a lot more hope. But that's what Arnie taught me today, and I wanted to share that. um let's see. Doa says, could you talk about natal Venus conjunction the galaxy center? um Why would I be talking about this when Venus is nowhere near the galactic center right now? I mean, though I appreciate the question, but really it depends person to person. I can't and I will not do individual alignments like that because it's rubbish. Honestly, you have to look at the rest of the chart. Every soul is different. You can have 10 people born with the same alignment and they will all manifest it differently. So if you'd like it for, in the context of you and your journey, you're going to have to book a session. Generally speaking, yeah, the galactic center is not something you can summarize. The maximum that anyone can say truthfully is that it is a space where there is an unusual focus of energy and intensity. That's the most that anyone can truthfully say. I can give you a vague generalization and just go blah, 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 blah. You can say, oh, wow, I learned something, and really not have learned anything at all. So I'd rather not bullshit you. But what I can tell you with respect to what is happening right now in the skies. Thank you, Dora. I'll be happy to work with you in a session. What I can tell you right now, happening in the skies, is that Mars is doing something very interesting. And this is a general alignment. So this is, the general nature of this is okay. You can take it and understand and see, how it applies. Mars is currently it's trining the great attractor, which is like the galactic center, and it's a very powerful um, mm, it's a very powerful moment where we're all choosing our paths of truth, especially in matters of love, romance, the heart, creativity, children. And so, in that sense, it's a very good time for us to be focused on what we love, what inspires us, what moves us, what captivates us, and makes us want to be here. It's a very good time to be having these questions and conversations. We Stomfeld, which says, as a walk-in chic outside. Please remind me, what is your pronoun? Is it she or he? Whenever I see the word which, I automatically assume she. I know, but I'll say they. He. Thank you. As a walk-in, I'm sorry. I'm used to thinking warlock, he, which, she. But I don't know if there's a gender-neutral one in between the two. So he can confirm as a walk-in original host. He has the same chart, and honestly, it's actually no, that's not true. Sometimes walk-ins have different charts, and it's like night and day. Makes sense. So and thank you for the correction. By the way, I was having this conversation with my brother earlier today. And we're asking in complete sincerity and honesty, not taking the mick of anybody. So, if you have a child who is non binary, how do you introduce the child? Like, in people have basically been saying, this is my son or this is my daughter, this is my child, is what I would say, right? So, how is there a term for it? If there is one, please let us know. I'm very curious about this. An MX? How do you pronounce that? No, 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 no. Like if you want to introduce your child, you'd say, "This is my son. This is my daughter." How do you would say a mix? Interesting. Okay. Well, cool. If anyone has any other comments on that, do leave it there. But as I have said before, this is a very trans friendly space. This is a space that does not tolerate bullying on the basis of your race, on your sexuality, on your gender identity, or anything of the sort. As open as I would like to have this space, people who believe that they are the defining authorities on spirituality and on what constitutes a human being, um, it's yeah, those people don't need to be here and they will be booted out. We Stomfeld, which says, ask the kid to be honest. My question. As a parent, if you are introducing a child who is non-binary, and who does not necessarily have a preferred male or female identification, what is the word you would use? Would you just say, this is my child? Or is there a more inclusive word for son or daughter? And I'm not sure of the language. That's why I'm asking. So a child cannot introduce themselves saying, I am the son or I'm the daughter of blah, 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 blah. That's weird in conversation. So how would you, as a parent, introduce a non-binary child? Child is good. Well, that's one opinion. If there are other opinions from people of people who people who have a non-binary identity, that would be also very, very welcomed. As we were having this discussion today and we just didn't know. So if you don't know, ask. Is that simple? Well, thank you. Thank you for the answer. I appreciate it. I thought child, but I didn't know if there was anything else. But anyway, coming back to other things, and I'm very happy to have gotten some answer on that. I did think it was child. What else can we talk about today? Let's see. Do I have any major astounding things to report today? I thought I would celebrate with some pizza. Well, not even celebrate, just treat myself with some pizza, but it came back all raw and undercooked, and we didn't have an oven, so we got a refund. That happened. Let's see. I can't think of much else. Yeah, hope, respecting gender pronouns. What else have we talked about? Mm. Yes, Mars and the Great Attractor. It's a very good time for us to, yeah, be just respectful of these things, especially when they have to do with kids, when they have to do with our passions, our inspirations, what makes us want to come alive, what makes us want to do things, just experience in the world. This is a good time to make those decisions. The problem is people tend to idealize things. And a lot of the times, rather than actually listening to our actual feelings, we try to take a step towards what we think we want as opposed to what we are actually feeling and needing at this time. And it's very dangerous at this time to be taking decisions on the basis of such idealizations. So, as I usually and almost always say, it's a very, very good time to be getting real with the self and to be looking at what are you actually feeling, what are you actually wanting, who are you and what do you actually bring. So this is a time for that level of truth and honesty, and it can be very painful, especially if you have essentially been, making decisions on the basis of fantasies. But a lot of the blindfolds are coming off, and if you go into that process willingly, you'll have less resistance. But if you decide to keep them on, you're going to get your ass kicked. But yeah, that's pretty much the energies right now. But creativity is good, doing joyful things are good. Like I said, take one thing, do it as best you can, even if everything else seems overwhelming. That's a good way to go about things. you know Alosa says haha and sends a heart. Oh, Sarah Cookie did send a heart as well. Okay. Let's see, what do we have going on? I'm gonna just give a little time for people to respond. I know that this hour, the lateness of, well, for a lot of you, it's late or very early in the morning. It means less people are on, but that's fine. You can have a good conversation anyway. So, is there anything else anyone would like to share or anyone would like to ask about? Ooh, V Storm Felt Witch asks, what about wishing for what you can't have? Why would you wish for it if you can't have it? If it's not yours, it's not yours. I don't understand the question. Do you mean like, why no, why don't you tell me what you mean? You have a different way of interpreting things. So you can tell me what you mean. Just waiting to see if there's anything. Ah, okay. That's a deep thing. Dora says, I would think child. That's what I thought as well. If anyone questioned a parent about the child's gender, I'd say that they are themselves, their own unique self. That's a good one. I like that one. Now, we Storm Felt, which says they miss their kid. Oh, star child family back home. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. Um, Rather than wishing, open. Feel what you're feeling, and this is one of those times where I would say the Care Bear stare does work. Feel what you're feeling and direct as much love as you can to that situation, to your child and to yourself. It was your child, and unless you're one of those horrible, terrible, toxic parents, which I doubt, you have every right to do that. Rather than wishing, allow that connection to energetically establish. But I wouldn't say that for everybody, because there are some creepy, narcissistic, stalking psychos out there who are parents. I don't think that's your case. Um, Sarah Cookie asks, advice for shifting through what you mentioned. I'm doing Qigong meditation, still feeling really heavy. You need to do something that makes you happy. You know, I'm a weirdo. I'm totally a weirdo. There are certain things that make me happy. I like work. Work makes me happy. So, I also love my cat, who is my daughter, and she makes me happy, and pizza makes me happy, and ice cream makes me happy. And yesterday I watched Hotel Transylvania. That makes me happy. But do things that actually make you happy. You don't need very intense practices, or you don't need meditation at this time to help shift things. What you need is what you actually want. People meditate to not to get something, but because they're hoping they'll experience something through it. And right now what people need is joy. So focus on something joyful. Like I said, even a small thing, even one thing you keep doing, that can save you a lot of pain. So do something that makes you smile. That would be a good thing to do. Let's see. What else? Loza says, this community is pretty joyful. I'd like to think so. We're also very serious and heavy, but we're also very joyful. At least that's what I believe. I hope so. Because it's all shades, right? You can't always be happy-go-lucky. You can't always be down in the dumps. Life is a process. So the fact that this community can reflect that is a good thing. It means it's a fairly decent um, space. Anona says fun is healing for sure. Yeah, and you have some fun. Have that every song felt which says it can't rain all the time. Exactly. It has to stop at some point. So okay. Jolene says, in regard to gender pronouns, although I have respect for the work the LGBTQ community has done globally to shift the concept of gender roles, personally, my job requires me to honor legality. Understood, understood. I mean, it's actually a very powerful thing when different pronouns are actually recognized by the state. That's a very powerful thing when that happens, and that's a pretty cool thing too. Loza says, unless you live in England today, yeah, I know what you mean. It was already going down when I lived there. Like I think I was there for 5 years. As when I was doing my PhD, and yeah, it that was 10 years ago, and the vibe was already shifting very fast. Let's see. Anona says, I also have fun at work too. Yeah, sometimes work, even though you can be in however much pain, but work, work is my medicine. Work is my medicine. That works better for me than painkillers, honestly. That, and I meet a lot of people who are in tragedy, who are in suffering, who are very, very, wounded and so on and so forth. And it always puts me back in perspective that do not throw yourself a pity party. That will not help. There are people who are honestly suffering. They're out there. I might be going through some pain, but there's a lot of pain in the world. So, it's important to heal yourself, but at the same time, don't throw yourself a pity party. It always reminds me of that. Um, let's see. Loza says, I'd love to learn a little bit your PhD time and how it has impacted your path. Maybe I'll talk about that some other time, but in a nutshell, I would say the PhD probably taught me, actually, it was me rather than the PhD, but it was the time that I took to go and look at the various things that I did. I was researching parliaments in India, and it was basically just the opportunity to experience life and really look at people. The PhD itself, I can't say that I learned anything that I really wanted to learn from the subject, because looking at Indian politics today, yeah. But I would say what I appreciated a deeper respect for was the concept, because what I ended up doing was I took an ethnographic approach, and I was working with a larger group at the time. I was trying to develop a framework to understand politics as a form of dramaturgy, a very sophisticated framework, many layers. And it was more that framework that I was guided to develop, which I would say was what I really liked. For anyone who's interested in my work, you can look at what the hell is it called? I think it is called The Dramaturgy of Ritual Performances on the Indian Parliament. And the thesis is online for anyone who's interested. And just read the excerpt, you'll get an idea. Sarah says, I meditate more to more to quiet, manage my mind rather than striving. I'll try some happy stuff. Thanks. That's good. Trinae says, I'm fascinated by nodes in I thought you were going for a hike. Uh, I'm fascinated by nodes in astrology. Do you think Naomi Osaka, the tennis player's Pisces South node, adds to her mental health and not being responsible in her commitments? I think there are people who, I think again, I don't like making comments on people because you have to look at the rest of the chart, because there will be other people with the Pisces South node that don't necessarily have that issue because they'll be more focused on their North node. So it's hard to say. I think astrology should really be used for self understanding and not for projecting motivations on people we don't know. Personally, that is my answer. We Stormfelt, which says my work is caregiving for a 77-year-old on his third childhood. He runs circles around me. Oh, okay. Shin says, should we be concerned about new moon in Cancer, opposing Pluto, Capricorn, Venus, Mars, da 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 da? Saw a post about the astro, da 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 da. Let's see. Hmm. Mm-mm-mm. What do you mean by concerned? Honestly, we've been through so much shit astrologically. I wouldn't call this a major point of concern. I think the points of concern, if you want to put it with that way, are the Uranus Saturn squares. Those are the major points of concern this year. February, June, and December. Everything else is not as, it's not even going to register on the scale. At least that's my opinion. Elio says, Navakali says, oh wow, caught you live. Hi. Trine says, I am going for my hike, in brackets, getting ice and water now. Thanks for that. No worries. Enjoy your hike. Be safe. That's important. Let's see, what else we got? Uh, mm, 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 mm. Anything else, or is it time to wrap up? Just giving a minute for people to come up with questions. If I can't, I won't answer it. I'll let you know right in your face, and you know that. Anona says, I work at a shelter. What kind of shelter? Okay. Batwoman says, just moving with the energy, and there seems to be a focus for me on caregiving. Be well, Dr. B. And thank you, Batwoman. Anona says, and she does a private respite for people with disabilities. A lot of you are caregivers. I noticed that. But caregivers are facilitators anyway. Jessica says, Asterio still at play. Yes, yes, yes. Elio Navacala says, I've been wondering whether the configurations of the last few days, Uranus, Saturn, Therius, are similar to the ones we had end of December 2015, New Year. End of December 2015. Let me check that up. Hang on, hang on, hang on. Like, I'm happy talking about a collective alignment, but I draw the line at, individual interpretation. Every soul must be respected, even if you have their date of birth. Let's see. Hang on. Let's have a looky loo. Uranus and Saturn and Therius, you were saying? Let's have a look. What was going on December 2015? Okay, Uranus was 16 Aries. I'm just taking the middle of December. What the heck was Saturn doing? Saturn was 9 Sagittarius. Okay, and what was Therius doing? Therius was 20 Cancer. No, they were in a very no, they were in completely different alignments. Not the same. Let's see. Oh, I see. You've been caught in similar trapping energies. That would be Therius trying the galactic center. That's still at play right now. Anona says a woman's shelter for ladies leaving domestic violence. That's awesome. You're doing great work, and I'm very, very glad to know that there's someone else who's helping us. That's very good. Go back to the video list. I talk about Therius trying the galactic center. I didn't want to talk about Therius. Somehow that thing keeps coming back. But in fact, there is a big alignment. Fine, fine, I'll say it. I was so determined. I'm like, no, let's just be light, give people some hope. Don't talk about that guy. And it came up. No, no, don't, no, no, don't apologize. Don't apologize. It is what it is. I was trying to be nice. I was trying to be nice. I do try. Let's see. I think I often fail because nice and honest do not always coexist. Well, there is a big ass terrorist alignment coming. In all honesty, that's happening, and I'm just double checking. That's happening on the 8th of July. To be honest, that is bigger than the new moon, and I'll talk about that. I'll talk about that. And Elio says, honest is always nice. I'm not going to say anything to that. I know for a lot of people, truth is painful. Sometimes it's joyful, sometimes it's also painful. The 8th of July, we see Darius at 27 Leo in conjunct Boracisi, which is the energy associated with the false light, 27 Pisces. And I didn't want to talk about this just because the moment I talk about it, you're all going to be sensitized to it. And I'm like, damn it, I just wanted to talk about hope today. So, Therius in conjuncts Boracisi, the energy of the false light. And that also means more layers are coming off, more of the blindfolds are coming off. People are going to have to look at the truth. It matters of the heart, matters of love, matters of children. And it's also a time you got to be prepared for what happens when the illusions break. So that is also coming up. And yes, I will do a separate video on this. So you are still feeling a Therius alignment. Didn't want to talk about it, but oh well. My moving crew support team says, you look so beautiful. Love the hair. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. We Storm felt which says, Therius is the obsessed stalker who hunts bears. Sounds like untreated impulsive ADHD. He's a sociopath, honey. Let's not mince words. He's an actual sociopath. Like there are several Theriuses in mythology, and they are very cruel things. He's not someone you can heal. No, he's not someone you can heal. Trine Indigo says mix of both joy, hope, and harsh realities. I remember someone saying, I was laughing at this. She was like talking about my energy. She's like, you're very stern, but you're also surprisingly kind. I'm thinking, surprisingly. Okay. It's a bit like that. Jessica Stevens says, honestly, I'm glad you are because I've been feeling something. Oh, yeah. I believe you. I believe you. We're not done with their reviews. Anona says, the man I love is constantly in a pattern of cycling through friends and family and saying they are low vibe to let them go. I've noticed this for a while. Um, yeah, sometimes that's legit. Sometimes that's legit. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes they are the low vibe person and they're just projecting. It's hard to tell. Anona says, in their life, when they don't click with someone, they just let them go gently. For him, he stews and talks about it, and it's a whole thing. Depends, people got different internal pressures. As long as you're doing something that's real, you try to minimize the negative impact on another person, good enough. But sometimes you can't. Sometimes you really can't. V Storm felt which says the truth will set you free, but first it will piss you off. Agreed. Anona says, I don't think I really believe in judging people as low vibe. Okay, I understand your perspective. Um, I don't either. I don't, I mean, I wouldn't push away someone because I felt they were low vibe. Personally, I don't even know what that means. And I don't want to know because I think it's a judgy as shit. But the only time I would actively push a person away is if they were causing me danger or harm or harming an innocent. Like if they were legit, like a psychopath or a sociopath or a stalker or something like that. That's the only time I would say, no, you out of my life. But if he feels the need to do that, he feels the need to judge. That's You can either accept him for who he is or tell him he's being a judgmental whatnot. You know? But you got to understand some people will come to truth at different ways. We don't all function the same way, and we will never all function the same way. Sometimes what the person might be saying is, hey, there's something negative about this energy. I don't want to be near it. That's totally legitimate. But sometimes they're just being judgy. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't have a job if I were to judge people on, oh, you're not at this frequency, you are not enlightened, you're not doing this. No, you can't do that when you actually want to help people. When you want to be elitist as fuck, yeah, that's when you can do that. Karen says, hi, Dr. B. Hi, everyone. Hi, hi. Sharanya says, do you have, if I think I know which Sharanya this is. Is this the person I'm thinking of? Do you have any suggestions for the safe release of grief, bereavement related, when in an unsafe environment? That's a very good question. Um, it kind of goes back to what I suggested to V. Stormfeld earlier. You need to use the Care Bear there, which I think should be added as a legitimate tool in psychic defense and psychic healing. It's not going to work for everything, but in the case of grief and bereavement, what you need to do is what has happened is a perceived disconnection. Truly, the ones we love never leave us. They are always with us in some way, shape, or form. And eventually they will move on. They will reincarnate, and those bonds can shift gears in a certain way. But I think the universe is weird enough that even when a person has moved on, either into the great light beyond or into a different life, there is still an aspect of them that we are still connected to. I am back. Okay, here we go. Okay. Yes, I'm back. So I would say you want to fill that space that got ripped out or torn out with as much love as possible and as much connection as possible. Not in a way where it's almost like you're clearing out something that's stagnant. You can have a picture of that person or something to remind you of that person, sit in, a private space, your room, and do that. And like I said, cabas that, do that until you feel like you have overcome that moment at that time, at that point in time. So that is a way you can actually heal, but at the same time, I should probably write this down. But at the same time, you can also do so privately, because there are different stages of grief, and as you know, I'm sure you know. But allowing yourself to fill that space where you feel that the connection has been drifted off, because the human mind is like it's over, but the spirit is beyond that, to allow some type of continuation to happen in a way that's not holding on, in a way that's not judging, in a way that's not expecting. And in that way, in that sense, you can keep things alive, but not, if you know what I mean. Hopefully that makes sense. Um, Batwoman says, here comes the truth. Buffering. Shin says, loading. I can see myself. Like, can you not hear me? I can see myself, people. Can you not hear me at all? Ah! Oi, oi. Can people hear me or not? Tell me, yo. I need feedback. Can you hear me? I'm going to have a look at myself. Hang on. I'm going to have a look. Okay, yes, I can. All right. I'm still there. Okay, good, good, good. All right, so let's go through some questions. Shin says, when is it okay to judge someone? Wouldn't it be helpful to people to define low vibrational energies to help them be aware and change it though? It's very useful to do that, but the way the words are being used, judgment is also putting a value judgment. If a person is carrying a low vibrational energy, therefore they are a bad person that needs to be avoided. That's the part that's unnecessary. It's very useful to discern. So when you say someone is carrying a less than aligned vibrational energy pattern, you can either help them through it or you can walk away from it. That's the difference between discernment and judgment. Um, mm, 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 mm. Okay. Queen Luna says, wow, this man I've been with friends with for 8 years is back. It feels like my divine partner. He's done work and cares about growth. Nice. After I've been healing from COVID narcissist relationship. I know what that's like. Um, good luck, and I hope it works out for you. Oh no. Tree Essence asks, do you have any suggestions energetically for a young person in crisis during this time? My teen daughter attempted to take her life 2 days ago, and my wife is undergoing breast cancer treatment. First of all, that must be incredibly painful. Thank you so much for sharing. Um, hmm, Let me just sit with this one. Right. Your daughter does need facilitation. There's no doubt about it. I don't normally suggest it, but when Spirit says something very clearly, send me a message. You can reach me at the skypriestess at gmail.com. Remember to put the word sky, the in front of sky. I'm sure people, whoever has the email, just Sky Priestess has gotten a lot of weird emails, but no, there's something wrong with that situation. So, Tree Essence, I want you to email me, the skypriestess at gmail.com. Yours is not something I can discuss here. Let's see. Mm-mm-mm. Jessica says, Indigenous wisdom voices a theme at the moment. They're always a theme. They should always be a theme, but yes, I agree. Today I was actually finding myself talking about Indigenous wisdom and how it relates to New Occult Law, of feeling that and really feeling connected to the Aboriginal lands of Australia that I've done pilgrimages on and so forth. I would say it's certainly a theme right now. Watchman, who is a friend from Australia. Hi, hi, hi. He has a lovely doggy. He says, good evening, very good evening, friend. Batwoman says, sending love to you, Tree, holding space in my heart for your challenges. That is lovely. Carmen says, hello, Dr. B. Hello, Carmen. Let's see. Yeah, okay. I knew there was some heavy stuff happening. I knew it. It just takes a while for it to come up. It takes a while for it to come up. But for you, Tree Essence, like I said, your daughter is a different case, but your wife, and I would say the family needs, because one situation is connected to another situation. Like I said, email me, but I think the gemstone chrysocolla would be very useful. Chryscolla. That would help a lot. Chrysocolla would help a lot. It won't solve the situation, but it will help. And people are sending love to Tree Essence, which is good, which is why this is a good community. Let's see. Ilian says big love from Sweden. James Bush says St. Mary's, New South Wales, Australia. You know, good. I'm glad a lot of energies are coming through. That's good. Uh, Batwoman says, thank you, Dr. B. Always feel better after seeing you and your lovely energy. I am happy to hear that. I never ever thought that would be possible. I was so gaslit in childhood and made to think like I was the worst person on earth, or the angriest person on earth, or the most unpleasant person on earth. So having this response from people is very unusual to me. So, but I am really happy. I'm happy about it. Oh, okay. V Songfelt, which says yeah, you read between the lines. You can get 10% sulfur soap bars fairly cheap online. Yes, yes. I hear you. I hear you. Um, let's see. Queen Luna, for me, low vibration feels like they're carrying a lot of damage that they're not willing to face or work through. Trying to be nice, help them is a slippery slope. That is a slippery phrase. I always slip up saying slippery slope. Slippery slope that can keep us there too long. Agreed. When someone is carrying something they don't need to carry and they want to keep carrying it, you can't help them. You just have to be like, cool, I'm gonna go now. But sometimes you can help them. Sometimes you can help them. I had to deal with that situation that Tree Essence is talking about, and that's a very different case. Very different case. Let's see what else we got going on. I think I am gonna end this call in a bit. It's 54 minutes. Holding space takes energy. Um, Queen Luna says, haha, me too, tongue twister. Yes, yes, it is a tongue twister. But rounding up, oh, Shin says, Queen Luna, I only stick around if they show they're open to change. Too draining being people around people who aren't. See, you're discerning. That's good. That's good. For me, it's a question not of good versus bad. Is, are you willing to do the work or not? If you're not, goodbye. If you are, okay, I'll see if I can help if it's sustainable. Mo's Art says, hi from Central Coast of Cali. Good doctor, love your music. Really? Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That makes me happy. That makes me happy. Yay. Magneto Onyx is sending a wink and a wave. Mo's Art says, yes, I am. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That is exciting. I have a new song that I was working on before this bloody accident. And it's a theme for the cat project. So hopefully I can work on it. And my brother says it sounds good, so I'll be working on that some more. And Tree Essence says, thank you for the suggestion and love from this community. That's very good. Shin says, wow, if you aren't, goodbye. Yeah, see, it's like that. Simple, simple. You don't need to be judgmental. You just need to be like, yes or no. Oh, okay, bye. Shin says, I didn't know you weren't a music artist. I don't know. I used to compose a lot when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I had a piano that was literally my best friend. I was so heartbroken when I had to leave it. I used to spend hours a day on it, hours. And I always got, I had this natural thing of playing by ear. And it broke my heart so much. It took me a long time to get back. Um, to music, and that happened quite recently, actually. So it's all in my head, so to speak, in a good sense. I only learned up to like grade one. My teacher ran away after that, but I'm not doing too bad for grade one. So Dora says, tree essence, sending love and nurturing energy. That's very good. Thank you all so much. uh, Queen Luna says, I feel that gaslighting felt normal until I learned what it means. Mm-mm. I've always loved your energy. Happy to be hearing more of your music. Thank you so much. Thank you. That makes me happy. Yay. Yeah, I dance too, or I used to. I learned little bits, but I put it together well. Belly dancing. What else did I learn? Tango, salsa, little bit of Indian classical dance, Odyssey and Bharatanatyam. That is a different side that I'd like to explore at a later date when my body hurts less. So, at some point. And I used to be into painting, but we'll get back to those things. And on that note, I encourage all of you to do a good thing every day that makes you happy, that makes you bring more love into your life, bring more love into the world. We don't know what the outcome will be, but we should at least do our best in a way that doesn't break our bones, ideally speaking. So take care. Very many blessings. Oh my God. Queen Lena. Teaching videos. Oh, no, 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 no. I'm not that level of a dancer. Though my best friend says that I look very sexy and dangerous when I dance. But that was a while back. I think the last time I danced properly was at her wedding. That was great. Oh, okay. V Stormfeld, which says, have you seen the Victor Wooten teaches music theory in 5 minutes video? Okay, okay. Cool, cool, cool. I have heard the name, but I haven't looked into it. But I will look. Thank you so much for the recommendation. So, all right, community. I think I've done enough for today. Everyone, take care. Lots of love. And if you're an Arnold Schwarzenegger fan and want to feel inspired and laugh your ass off at the same time, do check out his latest speech at the Austrian World Forum. Okay. All right, Shin has one last suggestion. If anyone is okay or has dealt with a narcissist, okay, it's got a suggestion. They're very good. Since we're mentioning gaslighting, excellent. Thank you for the suggestions. I'm very glad. And okay, bye bye, everyone. Take care. Lots of love. I think Shin recommends a Dr. Ramani. I haven't heard of that person directly, but check it out. If you don't like it, you don't like it. If you do, you do. What are you going to lose except some time? And believe me, coronavirus has given us a lot of it again. So, ciao, ciao for now. Bye.